Both China and India voted no when given the opportunity to vote against the Kremlin at the United Nations in regard to the conflict in Ukraine. On the other hand, India has been quite vocal about the need for a halt to the bloodshed in the war-torn country. The White House has stated that India is not in violation of any sanctions by importing oil from Russia, which accounts for 1 to 2% of the country's overall imports. This statement was made in reference to India. So why are India and China not sanctioning Russia? Since the beginning of the conflict 1 month ago, Beijing has been under pressure from Western nations to adopt severe actions against Moscow. How can India, China, and Russia collaborate to create a new world order? Hey guys, welcome to Studying Scholar. In today's video, we will tell you about the role of India and China in Russia during the war. So stay with us till the end of this video so you don't miss out on any of these facts. But before we proceed, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and click on the bell symbol so that you don't miss out on any of our wonderful videos in the future. And let's get started. In the wake of oil sanctions imposed by the West in reaction to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Russian President Vladimir Putin stated that Russia's commerce with India and China had improved. The amount of oil that Russia exports to China and India is significantly increasing. On Wednesday, Putin delivered a video speech at the BRICS Business Summit. In spite of all the challenges that have been posed to the global economy as a result of politically motivated sanctions, according to him, the sum of all trade conducted with Brazil, India, China, and South Africa reached $45 billion in the first 3 months of the year, representing a 38% increase over the previous period. As a result of decreased demand from European purchasers, Russian oil producers have increased their sales of crude oil at significantly lower prices to buyers in Asia, primarily China and India. I have a question. Why are India and China failing to support Ukraine? Because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, tensions between Moscow and the West have reached their highest point in decades. Both sides are engaged in a race to convince some of the most powerful nations in the world, notably China and India, to take a stance in the ongoing battle. The governments of Russia and the UK each dispatched their foreign ministers to India on Thursday, creating the potential for an awkward diplomatic clash. Both governments are attempting to curry favor with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's administration regarding trade and the conflict in Ukraine. British Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that historical links between Russia and India are well known and unlikely to alter during a recent trip to India. The nations of the West, in response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine, have slapped significant sanctions on the country and are now attempting to cut off any economic escape routes that Moscow may have, such as those afforded by the sale of oil and gas to China and India. For its part, Russia is attempting to evade the sanctions by utilizing the alliances it has cultivated with the countries that are geographically next to it in Asia. After Russia invaded Ukraine without provocation on February 24th, practically every person on the planet voiced their disapproval of Moscow's aggressive behavior. But there were several nations that were more ambivalent about their relationship with Russia, even if they are allies or friends of Russia. On March 2, 141 nations cast their votes in favor of a resolution at the United Nations General Assembly condemning Russia's invasion. There were 5 nations that voted against it: Belarus, North Korea, Eritrea, Syria, and of course Russia. The other 35 countries, including China and India, abstained from voting. Since then, other votes on other resolutions condemning the war have been placed, but China and India have remained committed to their position of neutrality on the conflict. Both China and India. It is claimed that both China and India are concerned about the fight that is taking place behind closed doors. Uncertainty in international commerce and ties is one of China's primary concerns as a result of this development. For its part, India has substantial defense relations with Russia and is a net importer of oil from that country. Please subscribe to our channel if you would like to learn more material like this. According to analysts, both sides are optimistic that a ceasefire will take place sooner rather than later, despite President Vladimir Putin's lack of indications that he plans to reduce the level of hostility in the war. India's position has raised many eyebrows around the world. This is due to India's abstentions at the United Nations, its unwillingness to criticize Russia, and many people have cited India's historic defense relationship with Russia and continued reliance on Russian defense material, military equipment, but it's not a straightforward issue. According to what he had to say, I think India would support a ceasefire and a rapid finish of the conflict. He stated that India had based its budgeting on the assumption that the price of a barrel of oil would be about $75. The battle has led those costs to skyrocket to more than $100, and this was another reason India could not sever its ties with Russia as an oil exporter. In point of fact, India has been snatching up Russian oil that is being sold at a discount over the past few weeks. This is because Western purchasers are looking to drastically limit the amount of energy they import from Russia. Does Russia give a threat to the US from this war? What do you think? Do let us know in the comment section. As relations with the West have deteriorated, Vladimir Putin has worked to establish amicable relationships with the heads of state in China and India. In 2019, President Xi Jinping of China referred to Putin as his best buddy as their connections grew closer together. According to reports, Putin gave Xi a guarantee that he would refrain from launching any form of invasion of Ukraine while Beijing was hosting the Winter Olympics 2022. The two heads of state signed a statement totaling 5,300 words in which they declared that the new interstate relations between Russia and China are superior to political and military alliances of the era of the Cold War, and that the friendship between the two countries has no limits. The issue of NATO continuing to accept new members is one of Russia's primary concerns in relation to the situation in Ukraine, and Beijing took Russia's side in pushing on NATO to stop doing so. Marco Papik, a partner and chief strategist at Clock Tower Group, this looks very much like a re-establishment of a bipolar international order. To get more facts related to this war, subscribe to our channel. Why does India support Vladimir Putin's Russia? Nobody should be shocked that India, particularly under Modi's direction, decided to embrace Russia following its invasion of Ukraine. The Indian government and a sizable portion of the Indian populace have consistently supported Putin since the start of Russia's blatant invasion of Ukraine. "I stand with Putin" and "I stand with Russia" trended on Indian social media, and the Indian government made clear that it was unwilling to jeopardize its close connections with Russia over Putin's actions in Ukraine by declining to back UN resolutions denouncing the invasion. For the time being, it looks like the West has rebuilt the transatlantic relationship and China is on Russia's side. "That's just the way that the perception is in the West," he said, adding that China needs to be careful on how it proceeds on a diplomatic level. For the time being, it looks like the West has rebuilt the transatlantic relationship and China is on Russia's side, he said. China is trying to do this complex dance in which it wants to communicate to everyone that it wasn't on Russia's side, but also that it's also not on America's side, and it just feels like it's not enough. China is trying to signal that it wasn't on America's side, but it's also not on Russia's side. You're either on one side or the other fairly rapidly on social media platforms like Twitter, and I don't believe China wants to be cancelled. What impact should this war have given to the whole world? Do let us know in the comment box. A representative from the Chinese embassy in London issued a statement in response, saying that Beijing is very distressed by the situation in Ukraine. The spokesperson went on to say that China's position has always been that international disputes should be settled peacefully, that the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries should be respected, the purposes and principles of the United Nations Charter should be observed, the legitimate security concerns of all countries should be taken into serious consideration, and China's position has always been consistent with these things. And that's it for today, guys. We sincerely hope you enjoyed this video. If so, please click on the like button and share it with your friends and family. If you have any questions or comments, please share them with us in the comment space below. I see you find the video interesting, so don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for future updates. You can also check out our other videos that have been specially selected for you. We'll catch up in the next video.